BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor and take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
If someone gives you the opportunity to coach them, you should leave them stronger than the way you found them. You should leave them stronger mentally, stronger emotionally, stronger in the belief about what they're capable of doing because they couldn't see it in themselves, because that's what coaching is really all about.
What are you built to be? What are you built to become? The time is now. The time is right now. You weren't built to break. You were built to be something greater. Welcome to Season 2 of the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart. I was the overweight kid, the one counted out, lost 100 pounds, found purpose in the pain, and turned my setbacks into a story worth telling. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about identity, discipline, and comebacks. Getting up one more time and becoming who we're always meant to be. If you're ready to go deep, do the work, and live out what you're built to be, you're in the right place. Let's lock in, let's rise, and let's get to work.
Welcome back to the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart, and this episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually recording this right after wrapping up my typical morning run. I did just under 5 miles this morning. It's about 6:22 a.m. right now. And honestly, I didn't sleep very well last night. I just had a lot on my mind. So this episode is a little bit of a motivational rant, and hopefully something that helps someone out there who might be dealing with a tough situation, whether it be with a coach, a boss, or someone in a leadership position in your life. One of the things I've learned over the years, especially as someone who's spent a big part of my life coaching, is that coaching is an unbelievable responsibility. I remember the first job I ever took as a high school tennis coach was actually for a girls' tennis team when I was 23 years old. The athletic director at the time sat me down and said, "Coleman, if I give you this job, I need you to treat each one of these players as if they are your own daughters." And his whole purpose of sharing that was for me to realize the unbelievable responsibility I had for being a nurturing mentor and a leader to those group of young ladies that deeply impacts their life. So when you become a coach, you're not just helping someone with a skill. You're being trusted with something much deeper. You're being trusted with someone's goals, dreams, and ambitions. You're being trusted with their confidence, their belief in themselves, their hope for what's possible in life. And that's not something you should ever take lightly. Now listen, I'm far from a perfect coach. I'm still trying to get better every opportunity I have to be on the tennis court with someone to impact their life. And I've made mistakes along the way. I've had moments I wish I could redo. But one thing I've always believed in is this: if someone gives you the opportunity to coach them, you should leave them stronger than the way you found them. You should leave them stronger mentally, stronger emotionally, stronger in the belief about what they're capable of doing because they couldn't see it in themselves at the time that you met them. Because that's what coaching is really all about. But every once in a while, you see something that's just a head scratching moment in your life. Situations where someone who is in a position to help people grow ends up doing the exact opposite to that person, to that team, to that small office division that they're leading over. And they end up tearing people down. They discourage them. They shut down curiosity. And they make athletes or employees feel smaller instead of bigger. I'll be honest here for a sec. I've been thinking a lot about this recently because someone that is close to me is going through something like this right now. Someone who has spent years chasing a dream, years of waking up early, years of putting in the work, years of believing in something that most people would say is impossible. As a coach, someone who ticks like that is the exact type of person that I want to work with. They just so happen to make one of the fewest feats. I believe it's less than a 4% chance that they become a Division I athlete in their respective sport, which anybody listening to this podcast knows the challenge that it takes to achieve that accomplishment. The margin between making it and not making it is incredibly small. And early on in their college experience, something happened that really stuck with me. It was after practice one day. This athlete walked up to their coach and asked a simple question, a question I've actually taught athletes to ask. They said, "Coach, do you have any feedback for me today? What can I improve?" Now, in my mind, that's exactly the kind of athlete every coach should want. Someone that's curious, someone that is trying to self-assess, to find ways to maybe think outside of the box and not see themselves for who they are, but have others speak into them. It makes complete sense in my eyes. Someone who's curious, someone who's hungry to improve, someone who's willing to seek guidance, someone who's willing to put themselves out there. But instead of encouragement in that moment, the response from this particular coach was anger. The coach basically said, "Why are you asking me questions? You're part of a system. Just keep your mouth shut and do what you're told." And when I heard that story, it just punched me in the gut. Because asking for feedback, whether it's in athletics or in the real world, is not a weakness. I see it becoming an epidemic in today's education where kids in the classroom are afraid to ask for feedback or ask questions because of what the student body is going to say about them. "Oh, look at that little Timmy over there asking all of these questions. What an idiot. What a stupid person. That's the type of stuff that goes around in social circles within schools. I never thought in a million years that asking for feedback would be perceived as weak, or that you're not good enough, or that you're not smart. But truthfully, asking for feedback is not a weakness. This is a sign that someone cares about getting better. There was another moment recently where the coach pulled this athlete aside into their office out of the blue. There was no context. They started going over information about this student athlete from over 2-3 years ago when they were in high school, way in the past. And that message was basically this in that meeting: you were better back then than you are now. Now, maybe the coach's mind was that it was supposed to motivate them, that because of some results from several years ago and knowing that they can be there, maybe their approach was to motivate them. But if you've ever been in sports, you know that confidence is everything to an athlete. And when someone is already struggling mentally because you're saying that they're part of a system and not asking for feedback and just keep your mouth shut, reminding them of past success is actually a negative. It reminds them that, well, why am I not getting better from where I was? It doesn't make them feel motivated. It doesn't inspire them. It discourages them. It reinforces the voice in their head that says, maybe I'm not good enough, and that things are going to start to spiral. Because the athlete isn't just competing against their opponents anymore. They're competing against their own insecurity and self-doubt. They're competing against the voice in their head. And as a coach, you're an extension of that voice in their head, either encouraging that voice or discouraging that voice. The hardest part for me to understand is this: how does someone become a coach and forget that the mind is the most important part of performance? You can have all the physical attributes and the physique and the talent to do extraordinary things. But every single great athlete that I've been around, where it's either tennis or running or basketball, whatever it is, the difference between good and great almost all the time comes down to one thing and one thing only: belief. Belief in the process, belief in the work, believe in what's possible. And when a coach destroys belief, they destroy the very thing that allows an athlete to thrive. So for the life of me, I don't understand it. What do you do when the coach is the problem? So the big question comes, what do you do when the person who's supposed to help you grow is actually holding you back? You're in a situation where you might feel stuck, where you might feel like, well, I have to figure out a way to make it work with this person because I've invested a lot to be in the situation that I'm in, to be part of this team, to be part of this program. Whether it's this story or, heck, maybe you're dealing with this exact thing right now. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a boss, maybe it's someone in leadership who's consistently making you feel like you're not enough. Here's what I would say to you. First, don't let someone else's opinion become your identity. I know words can be sharp. I know words can hurt. But just because someone is in authority and they question you doesn't mean they understand your potential. Secondly, I need you to protect your belief. I always say a strong why can overcome any how. It's that internal why, it's that inner voice. It's the mission that you're on, the journey. Tap into that belief system, protect it. Belief is powerful, but it's also incredibly fragile. When you're around negativity every day, you have to actively guard your mindset. You have to find a way to put a perimeter around the why. The third thing is take these moments of adversity and find a way to use it as fuel. Sometimes the people who doubt you the most end up becoming the reason you push harder. Not out of anger, but out of purpose. Being able to understand that and tap into it. There's a healthy way to take some of the most challenging, detrimental times in our life and use that same energy to a positive. It's not easy, but it's possible. As I was running this morning, I kept thinking about something simple. Every day that I wake up, every day that we take a breath and we get this opportunity to open our eyes and by the grace of God have another day on this earth, every opportunity we're given, that's another chance to grow. Another chance to become stronger, another chance to move one step closer to the person we were built to become. So even when the situation around you isn't perfect, even when the people around you don't believe in you, even when it feels like the world's against you, there is still an opportunity. That's the perspective shift. That's what I want you to have, that no matter what is said to you in the darkest of dark, there's still an opportunity for you to tap into who you have been built to be and who you are built to become, and for you to grow. That is my cry out for you. So if you're listening to this today and you're dealing with a tough coach, an impossible boss, or a situation that's draining your confidence, please hear this. Your story is not over. Your potential is not determined by someone else's attitude or words. And sometimes the very people who doubt you are simply part of the adversity that's necessary to shape you into something stronger. So here's my advice. Keep showing up. Keep working. Keep believing. Because at the end of the day, you were built to overcome. And remember, impossible is nothing. Listen, if this BTB episode about handling the tough coach, handling the tough boss, if it impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this to a family member, friend, or colleague, and just encourage them. Listen, there's a lot of tough things that are said out there. But as a BTB community, we can come together. We can support one another when our friends and family or peers or teammates are affected by this. And last but not least, if you're a coach, maybe you've tapped into some of these things. Maybe you've been that one that is planting the seeds of doubt into this next generation. And if that's you, I challenge you to listen to this episode, self-reflect, and make a change immediately. As always, I am proud of each and every one of you. And until next time, take care.